right, Keith. Everton have appointed Mark Howard to lead their defense in the compensation case with Burnley. How much could this claim be worth? Of course, this is about the relegation charges and the PSR charges and how that may have affected Burnley going down a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, look, this is a pretty detailed and lengthy sort of issue to get into, and it opens, as usual, another can of legal worms, thanks to the Premier League's sort of movements on this. Anyway, yes, Burnley is the only club, and I say this at the moment, and that could mean other clubs could take this situation up, to actually make a claim for compensation that the panel had left open for clubs to do after Everton got docked points. The issue basically, Everton did get docked points, but in the end the point deduction was reduced, as we know. But Burnley were the ones that went down, but Everton did admit to overspending, so that's not a point that has to be proven. The point here is that Burnley have got to prove the loss that they had by going down, which obviously will be financial, in terms of losing some of the Premier League money, etc., etc. They've got to show that is directly attributable to Everton's overspending. Now, there's been a lot of talk in the media claiming about the Sheffield United versus West Ham case when Carlos Tevez was actually signed wrongly for West Ham, and Sheffield United were able to win that case because they're able to prove that Tevez had played and had caused Sheffield United to lose some points. Now, he scored a goal in one of the games. Now, in this case, we haven't got such a direct situation, and I think it's going to be pretty hard for Burnley to cause and to prove cause that, Everton's strengthening of the squad is responsible for this, and not, for instance, Burnley's centre-half missing a header from a corner, or, was it Burnley's striker that should have put an open goal in? All these sort of things come into effect. The sort of scale we're talking about, I think, is going to be somewhere around about between 10 and 15 million is the total claim. And I think there may be a percentage of that that will be probably proven to be in the sense of I think the legal term is that you have it's legal of, I can't remember the exact term, I think it's something like you've got to have a chance. It's the denial of chance. And so therefore, they will say that maybe you denied a chance, maybe 20% of the chance is what you've been denied. And so we may award you 2 or 3 million. If it's that sort of case, then I think it may be settled outside of court. And I think both clubs may do that. The new owners at Everton will be aware of this case going on. And so I'm not overly concerned by the whole outcome. What does concern me is that this is going to open up the floodgates again of clubs suing clubs. Now, we've had issues with clubs against Premier League, but now if this really does become club against club continually, it's just going to lead to such bad blood throughout the whole Premier League. Can you imagine every game you invite the visiting directors in for lunch before the game and you're in court against each other? Every week it's going to just add some really bad tension to those sort of club relations.
And do you feel just generally that they really have a leg to stand on in this case, or this is one where, as you said, they'll make the case, it maybe doesn't even go to court, it ends up being settled outside of court just as a way of, getting it all done?
I think that's where it's going to end up, because I think the Premier League will encourage that. I don't think they want to start the floodgates of all these club against club litigation situations. And so I think that's hopefully where it will go. I don't like it. As I say, I think it's so hard to prove in a game what is the reason for somebody winning a game. Look, we've all seen games when teams can dominate for 89 minutes and then the team runs away and scores a last-minute goal in the last minute. You can't really tell what is the exact reason for a game winning and points being had. So it's so hard to do this subjectively. And just to say, in very general terms, that Everton's expenditure, which I think was only about £15 million from memory, it wasn't that much, caused the whole reason for Burnley to get relegated. You take this over a season's work, I think that's very hard to prove. and I would not want to be encouraging these sort of lawsuits at all.
And on a little bit more of a positive sign, Everton have confirmed 2 further appointments to the executive team. What have you made of those appointments?
Yeah, look, both I would say not necessarily junior. The first one is the chief revenue officer for the stadium, which is quite interesting. Obviously, with Bramley-Moore Dock, the new stadium, there are huge opportunities to increase revenue. I want to be speaking to the club about some ideas I've got on this as well. But certainly, I think it's a good sign that there's a real focus on not missing this opportunity of maximising every single pound we can out of this stadium in terms of concerts, other revenues, stadium tours, match day meetings, space, etc. All these sort of things, and there's new technologies that have got to be looked at as well. So that's good. The second one, I think, is about the social media side. Now, both of them, I've never heard of these guys. I'm sure they're excellent in their field. Otherwise, I'm sure the Freaking Group wouldn't have picked them. But certainly the social media side is an area that Everton has done a great job, a solid job so far. But I think there's a lot of room to really make a splash on this sort of area. So I'm keen to see the new innovations in the social media handling and what they're going to do. Everton, like most clubs, have got this issue about claiming to have, let's say, maybe 10 million fans around the world, but only having a database of about 200,000. So there's this massive gap, which I think is football's biggest revenue opportunity to really try and close that gap. And that's where these guys have got to do their job now and make social media not only great fun and everybody has a good laugh about it, but make it really become part of the revenue stream. And that's going to be the skill.